Hey guys, what's up? It's Caitlin here. I wanted to make another video for you all as a follow-up to the Pixel training. I was able to dive a little deeper into Cody's training, so I've learned a couple of other things. I had a couple of people message me in reference to their conversion ads. I'm getting a lot of the same questions where people are confused with how to read their data, how to understand the analytics, and understanding like what your leads are costing. So that's what this video is going to be about. I'm also going to share some tips on like best practices for setting up your ads manager in here, so that when you come in here, you can track it the most efficient way and have the best columns in here. Obviously, all the columns that have the most important data that you want to use when going over your ad activity and the results and figuring out which one you want to keep active and which ones you should be turning off. Again, I can't take credit for all of this. This is all stuff that I learned from Cody, and I'm just passing it on to you guys. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to show you is best practices and columns for setting up your in your ads manager. I'm on the ad set level, as you can see, because the ad set level is the level that your pixel and all of your ad information is coming from. So this is the tab that you should always be using when reviewing all of your information. The campaign level is more so of an overview, and really the only reason that I've learned to look at the ad level is to check out your relevance score. I don't have one yet because I have not reached 500 CPC on these two new ads that I just started running. I just shut off my ads that I had running the last 2 weeks because I was spending way too much on leads, and I did that on purpose. I wanted to let them run and so that they could begin to optimize, but they, I didn't get the results that I was looking for. So I shut them off so I could start from scratch with new ads, but I'm still running conversions with pixels. All right, so I'm going to come back to the ad set level. Obviously, this is the level that you should be creating your, default or preset saved column setups. So what I did here, I set up two different presets, one for engagement ads and one for conversion ads. I was basically using all of the default columns that Facebook automatically selected. When I was tracking all of my engagement ads, I've just recently added the engagement data one that I just built because Cody showed his preferences, and I really like how he has himself organized. And I think the data that he's pulling from the specific columns that he selected are just really good. So I'm going to show you that as well. So to go ahead and create a brand new one, you're going to click on your columns option here, and you're going to go to customize columns. Once you get that, you're going to come into here. Did it go away? Let's see here. Sorry about that. I had a call come in. All right. So once your window pops up, you are going to see all of the default options that have been selected for you. These are, obviously the ones that I have up right now are ones that I've already pulled in here because this is my conversion setup. But you would come in here and you would X out all of the default random columns that Facebook automatically has pulled up for you, and then take note of the ones that I have. This is the order that Cody recommended. I like it too. So you have your relevance score, your amount spent, and your amount spent today. Those three, and also your CPM, the cost per 1,000 impression. Those four are going to be fairly consistent with whether or not you're running an engagement or a conversion. You should always have those four columns included in your ads manager. So aside from those, you're going to have your link clicks, your cost per link clicks, website leads, and cost per website lead. Cody did not include post comments because when you're running a conversion ad, your post comments have very little to do with how much you're spending. It's definitely data that you can track, but it has nothing to do with the cost of your leads. I added it in here because I was using it so that I could keep track of who was commenting on which ad. So I added this one in here. This is my preference. So once you have all of these added, go ahead and do the search here. One other thing, when you are searching for the website lead and the cost per website lead option, my list here was set up a little different than how Cody's looked, but make sure when you're selecting the option for website lead and cost for website lead that you're selecting the column or the option that's underneath the section that says website Facebook pixel. If it says conversion pixel, do not select that one. The conversion pixel section is for a pixel set up through a conversion. Our pixel is set up through a website. It is a Facebook pixel. It's not a conversion pixel, although you're running it in conversion ads. So just make sure you don't get confused with that. Other than these two, all of the other ones are all straightforward, and there's no other options to get them confused with. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on these two. Once you have all of these options selected, come down and click Save as Preset. I obviously have this named Conversion Data. It's simple and it doesn't mess with anything else that's already saved there. And then you would just click Apply. I'm not going to do anything here because this is already saved on mine, so I'm hitting Cancel. And then if you're planning on running primarily conversion ads and you want to have this saved as your default for whenever you come into your ad manager, you click on Columns again and you can click Set as Default. I already set mine as default because right now all I'm running is conversion ads. All right, and I know a lot of us that are watching this have already been running engagement ads, and I'm sure you probably already have your ads manager set up in a way to read your data the way that you want and the way you like. Totally cool. I'm just going to show you this because I don't know if this is something that's common, and I can't remember if this is in the back office. So just to show you how to set up an engagement table, again, you click on your columns, you click Customize Columns, and I apologize. I'm going to back up because I want to put myself on my engagement options. So whenever you select one of these different toggles, it automatically goes between the columns that you have set up. So this is set up now as an engagement table. So I'll just come down here and click on my Customize Columns so you can see what I have selected. And again, like I said before, your relevance score, amount spent today, and your CPM, those are going to be your consistent ones. For the engagements, we have post reactions, cost per post reaction, post shares, cost per post share, post comments, and cost per post comment. And then once you have those all added, you give it another second so in case anyone's writing it down. You're going to come down here, Save as Preset. I named it Engagement Data, and Apply. Again, I'm not saving this because I already have it saved. I'm going to switch back here to the conversion data. So back to what I was talking about with the questions I've been getting. I had a couple of people mention to me, why are my leads like $19 per lead? I got $15 per lead, blah, 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 blah. The reason that is happening is because when you run a conversion ad and a pixel, the definition of a lead changes. You're no longer defining a lead and what your lead cost is by the amount of people who have commented on your post. Those are people commenting. That's just traditional like engagement on your ad. A true lead in a conversion data or in a conversion ad and a pixel is when someone comments, engages, and then clicks on your link and registers for the webinar. When someone clicks on your link and registers for the webinar, that is considered a lead. So for instance, if you're looking at your conversion table, and this is another reason that I added the post comments. Right now I have 2 post comments, but I have not had either of these 2 new leads click on my website. So technically, I have no leads because my website lead column is empty. If I had a website lead column, say out of these 2 people who commented, I had 1 website lead, my cost per website lead, which is this column right here, my cost per website lead would be based on this number. If this was like 28, like on my other ad, I had 28 post comments, and I had 28 post comments. And if I had, I think with the one that I had 28 post comments on, I had a total of 8 website leads. That means out of the 28, I had 8 people follow through on the link and actually register. My actual cost per website lead was then was the number divided by that 8. It was not divided by the 28. So obviously you're going to be looking at higher numbers, but once you begin to collect data from multiple conversion ads, you're going to be able to feel out what number is the right number. I'll give you an example. I'm going to switch back to a day where my ad was working pretty well for me. I believe it was the 7th, so just bear with me, guys. All right. Okay, so this is the one that's no longer active. So on that day, I actually got really lucky. I had 3 people comment on that post, and 3 of those people followed through on my website lead. So my cost per lead was $2.12. That is very good. Let's jump forward to the 8th. So out of 13 post comments that I had on the 8th, I had 2 people only click on it. So my cost per my lead went up. So you're going to be able to gauge this a little bit more. Now, traditionally, for a conversion ad in ePixel to season and optimize properly and begin to actually start working well for you, you don't want to stop the ad any sooner than 48 hours. 24 to 48 hours is your ideal time frame, and the 48 hours is the soonest that you want to shut it off. So if you're running it and your pixel's a little seasoned already, and you're seeing that you're not getting any activity, or you're getting, 1 post comment, etc., and you're getting horrible cost per website lead, then you can go ahead and shut it off and start something new. It does take a lot longer for a pixel to really truly optimize, because it takes a lot of data for it to start doing stuff. So I allowed mine to run a little over a week. I was definitely spending more on my website leads, and I was spending more on the ad itself. However, I wanted to see if it was truly ever going to optimize. And what I saw after increasing it by $5 after the first day, I believe to this day was the day that I actually I increased my budget by $5. And I noticed that I went on a steady decline with how many people started that continued to comment on my post. So because I did not see a gradual incline, I ended up shutting my ad off. If you let your pixel run for too long on an ad, and you're getting bad activity, and you let too much bad data get tracked, like really high website costs, really low relevance scores, really high CPM, etc. All of that stuff. If you're allowing it to run for that long, you're going to end up actually damaging your pixel. The pixel will get so used to picking up bad information that it will no longer optimize for good information. So you definitely want to find a good balance. If you're getting activity and it's not too bad, let it continue to run. If you're getting too much bad activity and you're letting it stay steady with that bad activity, that's no good. You want to shut it off, because we want to make sure our pixel stays with positive data and not too much bad data. Also, another thing that is very good to look at is your CPM. This is your cost per 1,000 impression. Basically, what that means is this is how much it's costing Facebook to put it in front of your audience. Your CPM is a reflection of the audience, the targeting, your demographics, the ages, the genders, all of that, the location. So if you have an ad that is very targeted and you have a lot of demographics selected, you're going to see that your CPM is most likely going to be higher, unless you are really good at putting together a targeted audience and it's stuff that you're thinking outside of the box where Facebook does not already have a high price on it. So your CPM is going to be a very good reflection of how much it's costing you to run this ad. So this ad right here, I was running this ad. I ran it for almost a week with my pixel, and it was targeted towards Canada. 22 to 35, and it was targeted to all. And this was with Matthew Jang's video. It cost me $15 on average. And it was just, it's way too high. My relevance score was a 10. So I was getting a lot of likes on it and I was getting activity on it, but I wasn't getting any leads. So this ad I ended up shutting off days before I shut this one off. But this, obviously, there's a huge price increase here. I was getting leads on this. My CPM was lower and my website cost was lower. Let's see what it looks like if we go back to the 7th. And like I said, your CPM and your website, your cost per website lead, these two numbers are directly correlated with each other. Again, this number is high because I didn't have any leads coming in. I wasn't generating any activity. So it was giving me a poor cost per impression. I was getting a low cost per impression here because I was getting conversions and I was getting a low cost per website lead. And if we go to our ad set on this day, let's see, my relevance score was a 10. So this is the relevance score, your cost per impressions, your CPM, and your cost per website lead are always going to kind of play a role with each other. They're always going to have influence on each other. So if your relevance score is below an 8, you're most likely going to see a very high CPM and you're going to see a higher website cost or a website lead cost. So those three columns, definitely keep an eye on. This is like a decent average number. I mean, when we were looking at Cody's stuff, when he was doing our his training video on this specifically, this was about the average. I think the most expensive CPM I saw was like a $14.99, but he was getting conversions on it as well. So, there's a lot of factors that you always want to take into consideration when you read this data. But for the most part, I mean, the main thing that I really wanted to just touch on was the fact that we aren't looking at post comments as much anymore when you're reviewing data for a conversion ad. So that is definitely something I wanted to share with you guys. As of right now, I'm pretty sure this is all I wanted to cover. So again, just a quick recap. Focus on CPM, relevance score, and your cost per website lead. Make sure you're following up with your leads that from the conversion ads with a link for the website. And definitely don't shut it off any sooner than 48 hours because your 48 hours is the minimum amount of time that you want to give it to optimize. Don't let it run for too long with poor data and very high costs because it can damage the pixel. Use common sense and apply logic when you're looking at all your numbers, compare things. And that's pretty much it. The one last thing that I wanted to cover with you guys was if I understood correctly from his training, when you run a conversion ad at the same time as an engagement ad, you are essentially you're increasing the chances of getting good data through that pixel. When you have a pixel running on the conversion ad, the pixel is looking for data. Any person who clicks on a link when that pixel is running as active, it's going to track through that pixel. So it's not just people clicking on your link when you're running, when it's coming through that specific ad. Say you have a lead come through an engagement ad while you have the conversion ad running separately, and you think that lead is a really good lead and you want them to go through the system. If that person clicks on that link, that person is also going to be tracked on your pixel. So, you can optimize your results by running engagement ads and conversion ads at the exact same time. I think that's it. I am going to be diving into the Facebook algorithm a little bit more so that I can help you guys out and give some pointers on, scaling properly. And once I dive into that, I'll definitely share what we learned. So I hope this was helpful. And again, if anyone has questions, go ahead and reach out. Have a good night.